Welcome to Soul Astrology with Laura and Christine, and to our first video where we're going to talk about what astrology is, how to use it, and why to use it. This is going to be the first of a series of many mini classes on astrology that we're going to be offering to help anyone who's interested in astrology, in figuring out their natal chart and transits eventually, I would assume we'll get to. There's a lot to cover, but our intention is that we want to share astrology with all of you, and talk about the basics of astrology and how astrology is really helping us on our own soul journeys and becoming more aware and of ourselves and living authentic lives and having awareness about different aspects of our life that seem to be challenging and opening us up to kind of an awareness or a wisdom that we find in the natal chart that is really, I want to say it's like comforting in a way to be able to have the chart with all the information that's there. So maybe before we even dive into that, we'll introduce ourselves. You want to start, Laura?
It's just very simple. I'm Laura. I really do not want to go so deep into what I do, or it's just I'm navigating my spiritual journey. I'm navigating this transformation, this process, and it's an everyday challenge. Um, I don't know. I having some issues defining myself lately. So I feel very comfortable saying I'm Laura, and I have connected with astrology 4 years ago, but for the past three, maybe 2 or 3 years, Christine and I have been connecting and trying to figure out things that are happening in our lives, getting information from the natal chart, and then navigating the healing process. And we are finding healing. We are seeing ourselves transforming. So that's why we decided to share what we understand, what we experience, um, the things that we are discovering on our own journey. And we want to share with the intention that might be useful for you. You can take some ideas and might help you to navigate your own journey.
Yeah, so these videos kind of are born out of our own conversations when we discover something new or we realize that something's happening in our charts right now and it's reflected in exactly what I'm going through. And so we've been doing these videos for a year or more, very intensively, and we've just come to realize how beneficial and how magical in a way it is to look at these charts and see how it's unfolding in our lives and how the tools that are there are helping us kind of grow and evolve.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the two of us, have a very different approach to life. Uh, we read charts, or we read our charts in a completely different way, and then we navigate life. We kind of laugh at how she does things and I do things, but I like to go from one point to the next one, step by step, figuring things out, and you are more like poetic and philosophical and more into the feeling aspect
Yeah.
of it. But then we bring those two ways together and we get answers. So that's what we have been doing now for a couple of years, and now we want you to make you part of our journey, and maybe you feel comfortable enough to share your journey.
Yes. So I'm Christine. I don't know if I introduced myself. And I think, Laura saying that it's really hard to define and not wanting to define or label herself in some way. I think just by looking at our channels on YouTube, you'll kind of get a feel for our style, the things that interest us, how we connect with spirit, and how we're kind of navigating this journey. And astrology is just going to be another aspect that we're adding in. So for this first video, we really just wanted to introduce what astrology is, to talk about how we use it and why. Um, so astrology, I think, so what I've encountered a lot when I'm starting to offer readings for people is that they don't know what astrology is or what it even offers, other than the little blurbs that Cosmo gives you every month in the back of the magazine about the different signs. And to be honest, that's how I used astrology for a
Me
very
too.
long time.
Me too.
um, so when we started diving into this more a year or two ago, we saw how much there is and how many layers there are to astrology. But we're going to just talk about the basics in these first two videos. So astrology offers you, if you're talking about the natal chart, a view into before you incarnated into this life, your soul put together a plan for this lifetime, the journey that you wanted to take, the challenges that you wanted to address, the growth that you wanted to experience. And that is all reflected in your natal chart.
And the gifts that you're coming with.
The gifts. So it's divided. We'll talk about this more in the next one, but the way it's divided up into 12 different houses, they each cover different aspects. So once you look at the whole natal chart, you'll see that pretty much every aspect of your life, from private to public, from the way you relate to self to others, to your talents, to your work, to your family, to your childhood, even to past lives and to your future life, or the life that is possible in this one, if you choose that path, that's all there for you. And so you can imagine how powerful that is or can be for someone who's really curious and really wants to kind of experience in a very um, practical and a very real way the spiritual journey. Looking at a natal chart and looking at a transit chart and all of that is really a great tool, I think, to have in your pocket.
Yeah, I for me is there are many things that life gives you over and over again, challenges and situations. Uh, but you kind of either blame it on others or play the poor me or what life is doing this to me, and you know. But then you see the why. Why is this happening over and over? You see it on your chart, and then you understand it, and then you figure out the lesson. And then if you get the courage and the strength and you give yourself that space to transform, to go through that transformational process and the healing, then you see that that experience that was really frustrated and happening over and over then just dissipates. But in order for me to understand what is life giving me, I have to look at my chart now and figure, okay, how do I connect life with this map? Because for me, the natal chart is like a handbook, a manual of how I work. So putting those things together, you don't change life through by looking at the chart, but you get information from the chart on how you can navigate life and what uh, changes you need to create, what adjustments you need to create in your life.
I think we've just highlighted our, for the first time, the differences in how we both approach the astrology.
Okay.
Because I don't look at the chart. I know that you really do use it as a manual and it's really powerful tool for you, but I don't use it that way. So for me, the chart imparts um, wisdom and insight, and I get impressions and ideas about what is going on, or um, the work that I need to do, or challenges I'm feeling in relationships, or whatever's going on in the moment. And so for me, it is something that is very soulful, but it's not something that I look at on a daily basis, or that I even refer to necessarily. So now I refer to it because it's given me a more self knowledge.
Mhm.
So that's what I really liked about it. It gave me some wisdom and information about who I am and why certain things are appearing in my life. And from that wisdom, I just have more self-awareness, self-identity, from a higher perspective that has given me then a calm, a more resolve when I step out into the world and I meet these challenges, or I want to walk a certain path because it's calling to me. I understand when I look at my chart why it's calling to me, and that validates things for me.
Mhm.
So there's already, you can see the difference between the two of us and how we navigate. And so I really want to make that point because I think a lot of times we feel like there's only one way to use it, and everyone's going to relate to it in a different way, and it's going to bring different things to different people, but it offers something to everyone.
Yeah. And also we're gonna be talking for months about looking at the natal chart and understanding our present life. But as you said before, we can navigate, understand transits, and that will tell you what are the energies happening in this moment, like the winds, where are the winds going? So then you can adjust your life to what is happening in the now. Also, you have information of your ancestors. What are you coming in this lifetime to heal from your family? And what are the things that you might want to detach? What are the things that are running in your family that you want to say, it stops with me? So there are not just, I think there are many, many ways of looking at the chart. The chart has much information, all useful, but the way we connect with the chart is unique.
It is. And it's not about necessarily giving us answers. It's about letting us feel the energies into situations, into relationships, into inspirations, and our how we are creative individuals, how we're individuals with other people. It gives us insights into the energy of that. And energy can express itself in so many ways. So we have the choice then of how we express it, how much we express it, when we express it, when we pull back from it. So it's not about giving you, okay, this is step 1, 2, and 3, and this is exactly how you get from A to B.
It is for me.
Yeah, but see, you're making a choice,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep.
You can go through a healing process in so many different ways,
Mhm.
and you're getting inspired. So you're reading into the chart these answers for yourself. Whereas I could read into the chart in a similar situation and read a different set of steps that I need to go through for it if that's the way I wanted to handle it.
And even if we see the same connection a year later, it will mean something different because our level of awareness expanded, so we can interpret those connections or the things happening in the chart in a deeper way.
Yeah. So what I really want to get at is there's no right or wrong. It's like if you want to get from Boston to New York, there are a couple different ways that you can get there. You can take the back roads, you can take the interstate, you can go along the coast, or you can go through Connecticut. It's not one right or wrong. It's your choice of how you want to get there and what experiences you want to have along the way and how thorough you want to be and how quickly you want to get through it. So I just want to put that out there that when we start talking about details of planets and houses and how they interact, or when you ask a certain question, when we're going to create a Facebook group for questions and community building and all of that around this, that it's energy that we're reading and that it's not a map that's given to you that's going to tell you the exact steps and the exact direction and the exact time frame that you need to do things in. Just wanted to put that out there. I just feel like it's really important because
Yeah,
I think a lot of people, if they do know something about astrology, the other thing besides the Cosmo thing is the predicting a future.
yeah,
And
no.
it's not about that at all.
No, but it can help you see what choices you have. So it can
Potentials.
potentials, yeah. And that for me is huge. um, it helps me see, here I am, and I kind of know I want to go there, but what's the way to get there? What tools I have, what gift I have, what challenges I need to overcome to get there. So it gives me homework, and I love homework. So that's I see my natal chart more like yeah, homework to do. When I notice something and then I see me doing in life that very same thing, expressing sometimes a conditioning that I see in my natal chart and then expressing it in life, I go meditating and I see, okay, how I can liberate myself from that conditioning. And then the work starts. And I have a journey of a couple of months um, of working on that aspect. But sometimes it's not easy for me to see it in life. It's clear for me to see, to connect life with the chart. And then it's like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Here I feel limited. Um, so give me some tools to work in my life.
It's really interesting. I kind of want to make 2 points from that. And one is that I feel like as soon as you start working with your natal chart, you mentioned meditation and how you meditate in order on certain aspects to try and get steps or messages or feelings or guidance. I feel like if once you open up your natal chart and start working with it in some aspect, even if it's just for fun, just to kind of look at and see, it opens something up in a spiritual way, a connectedness to soul self, to higher self, that I think is the crux of what you're talking about. And it doesn't have to be that you meditate with it or that you super study it. I feel like subliminally just connecting with that energy in some way opens you up to that journey of healing and addressing these things, whether you consciously are doing it or not. So sometimes I find for myself that things are happening and I'm having these awarenesses and aha moments, and I'm realizing these dynamics that are going on in a relationship. And then I look back and oh yeah, I saw that in my chart and this is why it's happening. And I'm going through that same process, but not in a very lineated, concrete way. It's still opening up for me because I'm engaging with the energy of the chart, but it's not a super conscious kind of decision that I'm making to constantly link it back to the chart.
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes
Oh
sense or
yeah,
not.
because I know you, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
For me, is oh, I'm stepping in the shadow. This is the things that I cannot do anymore because if I'm doing it, I'm just stepping into the shadow. So I'm conditioned myself to stop doing something or start. I train myself to start seeing something in a different way. And for me, it's training. It's training my behavior until I start seeing things in a different way. It's it's my way of going through life.
Yeah.
But it works for the two of us. And
Yeah.
you can find your own or you can get combination of both. And here we are just sharing ideas for you to
Yes.
take whatever you feel is useful for your own journey.
So in this first video, we wanted to talk about what astrology is. Did we even do it? I know we talked about how and we talked about kind of why we're using it. So astrology is the basic idea of where the sun, the planets, asteroids were fixed in the sky at the moment of your birth.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit about the transits, and here comes the sun. We talked about the transits too. So there's lots of layers that you can add on to the exploration of your chart, looking at how it compares and is influenced by the current energies. You can project forward to the next year or 10 years, and you can look at how the planets are going to be moving through. You can talk about generational influences, personal influences. So there's lots of different ways to use astrology.
um, my understanding too is, or maybe I'm just going to reword what you're saying. Um, the moment that we manifest in this physical realm in this lifetime, all the planets in a way contribute with something, give us something. They all are part of our journey. We have a little bit of Venus in all of us, a little bit of Mars in all of us. And Mars is giving us something to go through life. Venus is giving us something to go through life. Jupiter is giving us something. And we channel every day all those energies in our own unique way. So that is how we use our perception, our idea of beauty, our desires, our warrior, how we use all those things every day. That is kind of predefined in your natal chart the moment that you enter this realm. And that's the picture that you see when you see your natal chart. So there is the understanding of how all these little personalities are working in you by looking at the chart, but also understanding what the planets are doing today in the sky, because that is also influencing you in what energies you have to you can use today, what energies you have available today. I don't know. That's also my perception. So in a way, the soul before manifesting gets a collective of energy from all the planets, the ones that we know, and I have the feeling that we're gonna keep discovering planets and energies. So this is, to me, this is kind of the beginning of astrology, of the new era in astrology. Um, we're going to start learning more energies that are influencing us as we expand our knowledge of the universe. But what we have right now is, it's a lot of information. So the natal chart is, for me, is the picture of how the sky was the moment that I was born, and that sets the energies that I'll have through my life in this lifetime.
Yeah, I wanted to add that too, that astrology is evolving, that it's not it too is kind of a living organism in a way. And you can see that, I think, just in the Pluto and being not labeled as a planet. And then it's, what is its label now?
I don't know.
I don't know, but they changed it from not being, it no longer is considered a planet by astronomers,
Is it
but
a dwarf planet now?
um, I don't know.
Okay.
I but it's just shifting and evolving. And in astrology, a lot of astrologers are starting to bring in a lot of these new asteroids that are all divine feminine energy. And they're starting to bring that into the readings of charts that wasn't happening even 10 years ago. And so there are all of these new energies that are being brought in to the reading of a chart. And we will probably be exploring that at some point in the future too, but it's very fascinating. So is there anything else you want to add to what, why, and how we should be using astrology?
No, the why, I think we already explained it, is we want to share what we are using and we find it helpful. So that's what we want to share. We want to offer you tools for you to navigate your journey. And that's
Right. So our plans are, we're going to be doing the next video about the basics of the chart and kind of showing you what a chart looks like, what the basic elements are of a chart, and then at the end showing you how you can get your own natal chart, which will be really helpful going forward with the rest of the classes, because you'll be able to refer to your chart and kind of start to get an idea of what's going on in it and what information you can get from it. So we also are going to be posting these videos alternating from Laura's page and my page, so back and forth between the two. There should be playlists. They're going to create playlists on both channels, so you should be able to access all the videos as well. So if you're interested to get more or be notified when these videos come up, you can just subscribe to both of our channels, and that way you'll know when the next videos come up. I don't know if we've really thought about a schedule, but we're going to be recording once a week a few videos, so it's going to be on a regular basis. We'll let you know in the future how that kind of works out. Um, and the last thing I want to mention is that the information for both Laura's channel and website and mine, as well as the Facebook group that we're going to be creating is going to be included in the description below. So if you're interested in joining this new astrology community that we're going to be setting up, we're going to be supporting each other, exploring astrology together, asking questions of one another, and kind of really diving deep. Then you can go and click that link and join us on Facebook as well. And it's going to be a public group, right? So
Yeah.
you can
Open.
share it too if you think other people might be interested. We'd love to have the more the merrier. All right. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right.